It's time to initiate Hanet's Judgment Day mode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Octopath Traveler, and this time we're going to be revisiting my favorite character and my favorite secondary job, Hanet's with Warmaster. Now this is a really cool one, but before I continue, I just want to give a bit of a spoiler warning. The area that we're going to be in is in the post-game, and all the weapons that we're featuring are also only found in post-game anyway. So if you guys haven't finished the chapter 4s, or you haven't you're just afraid of being spoiled, feel free to just bookmark this page and then come back if you're looking for more power, because Hanet gives that in spades. So, looking at the equipment in question, as usual, I'm going to try to explain where to find them. The first one is the battle-tested blade, and this one you can get by finishing Ulbricht's chapter 4. Head over to the Wellspring, all the way to the left side of the town of Wellspring. You'll find Earhart inside of a house, and then just talk to him with Tressa, and you can purchase this most powerful blade. It's very good because it augments your physical abilities. Next up is going to be the battle-tested spear. This particular weapon, actually, you can get part and parcel with Mick and Mac's shield. This one, you have to go to the Noble Courts and go to the building where Therion begins his chapter 2. Once you're there, you have to do a little bit of a side quest. You'll need either Ulbricht or Hanet to take down an imposter enemy, and then once you beat that enemy, you can just go over to Rippletide, where Tressa began her adventure. Once that happens, you can purchase this spear, which occasionally blinds the target. Next up is the battle-tested dagger, and I actually can't really describe where to find this one. I might as well just show you guys. When you go and you beat the game, what you can do is just go to the other town, Atlasdam. Now, the thing about Atlasdam is that as soon as you fast travel over here, immediately head right and make your way down south until you find the next save point. Then head right from that save point to find a little lone islands with a lone brown chest, and you're going to see a big rock mass that's right behind the chest. Go behind it and you'll find the secret entrance to the cove, and there's going to be a lot of different treasure chests, but you want to find the single NPC that's there. Once you find her, use Therion's pickpocket ability to steal from her. Don't worry about failing that, because it will not affect your reputation whatsoever if you do, and if you do succeed, you're going to get the most powerful dagger in the game, at least for physical attacks. Next one is the Death Cleaver. This one is quite nice. You just have to go to Whispermill and talk to a gentleman that is right of the inn, like actually to the right of the inn, and then you can purchase the Death Cleaver from him. It's really, really cool because it has, I believe, the highest physical attack in an axe, at least based on the ones that I found so far. Next up is the battle-tested bow. After you finish Hanet's chapter 4, go back to her village and speak to her master, and he will sell you this bow that occasionally decreases the target's physical defense. Finally, there is the Giant's Club. Unfortunately, there aren't very many powerful staves for physical attacks out there, so the Giant's Club you can get at the, the Ebony Grotto, which you have to visit anyway for Ophelia's chapter 4. Once you get this one, you're going to have the most powerful physical attack we can find for a staff item. And when it comes to the other things, feel free to use whatever tickles your fancy. If you want more defense, that can work. Otherwise, just go for some utility, because we are going to play around with damage, or getting damage rather. The physical belts you can get by pickpocketing a gentleman in the Stone Guard valleys. There's going to be a gentleman that is sitting in front of a building, which you can pickpocket. You can't miss him. He does have a brown speech bubble over his head. When you pickpocket him, you can pickpocket the physical belt, and you can also get the elemental augmenter, so there's no reason for you to not pay him a visit. And finally, the Mighty Belt, you'll find this doing Ulbricht's quest. So that basically does it for the equipment. There's plenty of stuff to get, and the cool thing about the Warmaster is that the more powerful weapons you have, the more powerful your divine skill will become, and that's exactly what this video is going to be all about. But let's look at my favorite part of this game, the skills, the support skill builds. So you're only allowed to have 4. Surpassing Power needs no explanation, just get yourself as much damage as possible. BP Eater, in my opinion, is the best way to boost up your damage, because one boost is basically the equivalent of giving yourself a dance from another character in terms of your damage output. It's just really, really cool. And there's Fortitude. The thing about Fortitude is that we're not necessarily going to make use of it the entire time, but since fighting against bosses is part and parcel with getting hurt, or getting hurt is part and parcel with fighting bosses rather, this is a pretty nice way to just give yourself a little bit more of a bonus. And then there is Patience. Usually I would have physical proficiency for the Warmaster skill for this one, but since we do have a dancer on our team, we can just cancel that out and then try to fish for some free turns to get ourselves prepared for the next one, to give ourselves either more BP or to work away at the enemy's guard. The rest of our party is pretty simple stuff, all purely support related, really. We have a cleric on duty, we have a dancer, 2 clerics actually, and even a starseer, so it's gonna be pretty easy to do. Hannes is the star of our show here. These people are basically just the supporting cast at this point, but we do have a hunter, just in case we need to have another source of leg hold trap, if for whatever reason Hannes is unable to do so. And we have Therion on cleric duty, which is also quite nice, and then Ophelia as our starseer, providing more offensive utility. But again, it's time to initiate Hannes Judgment Day mode. Alright, kicking things off in spoiler territory is letter O. Letter O for Ophelia's final nemesis, Mattias. Mattias is weak to sword, axe, ice, and light. And what I'm going to do whenever I kick things off is to give myself a BP boost. This way I don't have to expend a pomegranate, which can be quite useful overall. Now, looking over at what we can do, if ever you do need to do a turn and you want to weaken the guard, I recommend going for spells, because even if spells don't do that much damage, you're going to do plenty of damage with the break anyway, and spells do not miss at all, so keep that in mind. Next one is going to be a hunter skill. We're going to use leg hold trap for this one, moving him all the way to the back of the line for the next turn. It's an extremely useful spell, so honestly I'm trying to make as much use of that as possible. And then Hannes is going to follow things up. We're going to try to go for some sword strikes. So he has 2 hits left. No patience would kick in, but that's totally okay by me. And I'm going to go for 1 boost, use divination to increase your critical chance. And also, I think what I can do is... Yes, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Thief skill, Armor Corrosive. The thing about the debuffs in this game is that you're going to notice a huge increase in damage if you apply debuffs to your enemies, so keep that in mind. And another thing that we can do, he is weak to axe, so I could potentially just do it right now, but I'd much rather have the Lion Dance for this one, so here we go. Here comes Lion Dance, and I'm going to use the Warmaster's Guardian Lion Dog skill because I only need 2 hits. Usually I would risk maybe at 3, 4 is too risky in my opinion though. So do we get patience? No, not quite. That's totally fine by me. So next thing that we can do is, we don't actually have much else that we can do. I guess we can just increase our critical rate with Take Aim. Something a little cheeky here. And we also, yeah, like everyone's pretty much full up. We're not going to see any bonus damage from the Fortitude skill. But, you know, all things considered, this is pretty good. So what else can we do here? I guess we could, yeah, do you want to just do a normal attack and then let Hannes handle the rest? And this is where the fun begins. All you gotta do is just use the battle cry and you're gonna hit 6 times for incredible amounts of damage. This particular attack is quite nice because we're hitting anywhere between like 120 to 150,000 damage per go. But if we have low HP, we can easily see upwards to about 300,000 damage. The damage really does add up, and I really enjoy that. Also, one thing I wanted to note is that this is a point of no return area, so feel free to spam your jams, because I know I'm going to. Next up is the letter C for Cyrus versus the absolute unit Yvonne himself. This guy is weak to dagger, staff, and light, and thankfully Therion has all 3 of those. So what we're going to do again, like I said, spells are your best bet because they do not miss at all, or if ever they did, I have never seen that happen, so yeah, just keep that in mind. I guess what we could do is, why not... Okay, so this is where I can make a little bit of a choice here. I'm going to try fishing for a debuff. Usually a debuff will happen, meaning that Therion doesn't have to do too much, but since that didn't happen, I guess I'll just use a leg hold trap and use Ophelia's spell to make sure that Hannes will have enough BP to do the full boost in the next one. So here we go. Hannes is going to be the last person on the next turn too, so that's going to be nice for us. So what do we got? We got attacks. Everyone's attacking Primrose, which is totally unfair in my opinion. And we're going to use Lion Dance. Oh, with a boost, actually. Lion Dance with the boost. Okay, so what do they got? Yes, okay, attack Hannes. That's exactly what I want to see. And we're going to use the Thief skill. The Thief skill Armored Corrosive. And this should be a bit of a nice return for us. Okay, so this person's weak to dagger, staff, and light. I could actually just burn... I'm willing to risk. Yeah, I'm willing to risk a little bit here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the divination skill again and on Hannes to make sure that she has a critical rate, because critical rate means more damage. And then we're going to use the 2 dagger hits on Yvonne. Perfect, both of them landed. So let's see what happens here. Tornado for the entire party. Unfortunately, Primrose is going to go down, but Hannes is going to immediately avenge her friend, and this is some dramatic stuff right here. When Hill's battle cry, crazy amounts. Looking at some really nice stuff here. This particular boss has a little bit more HP than the previous boss, clocking in at about 163,000. So that's not so bad. I guess what we can do is just use a Starseer, because this is a light spell. And I could also use a pomegranate. I'm going to use a medium-sized pomegranate, because why not? And then all that's left for me to do is just finish things off with a nice little attack from this. Let's go for the battle-tested dagger this time. I think that'll be a fun one. Oh, nice. Okay, we got some of that. Okay, so his strength has been augmented. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to seal the deal on that last one, but what I could do is just whittle him down just a little bit more and use another pomegranate, actually. We'll use a large one this time to make sure we get that full boost. I know that's a bit of a waste, but we have so many, and this is a point of no return area, so I don't mind expending a little bit. So let's see what this looks like. When Hill's battle cry. And honestly, we've hit so many times already that this is definitely going to be a kill. Although, let's not jinx ourselves just yet. No, perfect. So yeah, all it took was a little bit of a KO. We got a slight bit of a damage boost, but it's not until your health bar is flashing red where you're going to see some serious numbers. Until then, though, that should be fine. Now, we're going to use healing. I guess we'll revive Primrose, because no one wants to see that. And we're going to spam the gems, just like what we did before. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. And head over to the letter T. T, of course, standing for Tressa, trespasses in an area and encounters a terrible tiger. So this is a fairly decent one. If this battle stretches on for too long, it could be a problem, which is too bad because this particular fight has 194,000 HP, so we definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of any of this. He is weak to, I believe, spear, bow, and fire. And I'm not entirely sure what the fourth one is. It might end up being light, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's go for, yeah. You know, if that's worst case scenario, we could. We'll have Primrose do the other one. Here we go. Let's hit as many times as we can. This is the most SP efficient method of doing so, of whittling down anyone with an arrow weakness. Okay, so use Wildfire, and then we're gonna use the leg hold trap for Primrose, and she's gonna be striking first in the next turn, so that's gonna be good. Nothing is wasted here. Okay, so again, just as like usual, I'm going to be using BP boosts on her. So, what's left for me to do now? Oh, perfect. This is a very, very opportune moment for us. So now we can use the Rain of Arrows, and now the entire order of the party is perfect. Primrose is going to cast Lion Dance on Hannet, and then Therian is going to cast the damage debuff on the enemy. So here we go. You can just do a normal Lion Dance, that's fine. And then Therian's going to come in with his ability, Armor Corrosive. Might as well just boost it up just a tiny bit, just a touch. And then Ophelia coming in with the Divination skill, and this will increase our critical rate even further, which is going to be very good for us. Just in case, because you want to have as much damage as you can. So again, this is the highest damage that I have, being the sword. So this is going to hurt the most, I believe. Let's look. Yeah, 28,000, we're nearing to the 30,000 mark, and the main difference between this is that it's actually very similar damage to the total of a full boosted sorcerer skill, assuming they also have the Elfric's Auspices, so that's another thing that I want to keep in mind too. Okay, so here's the thing, everyone's poisoned, but I'm not afraid to race against the clock for this particular encounter because we've done so much damage as it is. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the Hunter skill Leg Hold Trap to make sure that this guy can be at the back of the line as per usual. And then I am going to use the pomegranates on Hannet for this one. So we're going to try to whittle down the guard as best we can using our skills. We have every tool at our disposal required for this. So yeah, that's going to be 5 hits down. And Ophelia, you can go ahead and I guess, yeah, just spam some spears, I guess. 3 hits for the spears. And here comes Patience. Awesome. Okay, so now what's going to happen is I'm just going to use another arrow hit. And we're pretty much good to go. Like, all the buffs that we have are all down. Everything that we have is pretty much closed conditions, I think. So I think all that's left for us to do now is just I'm not going to use a team heal because I don't want to sacrifice the damage that we can get from Hanets, so instead we are going to max out and steal SP. Just kind of get as much damage as we can. The thing about high damage single character builds like this is that you kind of do need to consider what exactly your characters are capable of. What I mean by this, of course, is that if a character can do 50,000 damage in one turn, and then you see that the boss has 60,000, you better hope that the rest of your party has the ability to kind of continue that. Here we go, Windhild's Battlecry, avenge your friend for us a little bit. Again, this is a fairly nice amount. It's all about averaging about like 27,000 per hit. Unfortunately, of course, due to the nature of staffs being, low physical attack weapons, we still will be using the attack, but it's definitely noticeably less than before. Alright, so again, go for the revive. Primrose is quite squishy, but again, the reason why she's here is mainly for supportive tasks, and that's exactly what she's been pulling off quite beautifully, might I add. So here is O for Olberic, and the ominous horse old man. I don't know. Okay, so let's begin things here. As usual, try to start things off with the leg hold trap as much as you can. And this particular enemy has, Werner, has 167,000 HP, so he actually has lower HP than the previous boss, and he's weak to dagger, axe, lightning, wind, and light. And thankfully we have plenty of those at our disposal. Here we go. Okay, so I think one option that I can use for axe, maybe I won't use axe first. Okay, so here's the problem with the oppression skill is that I'm very reliant on having more attack power, but since they decided that it would be a good idea to take it away from me, we're not going to be seeing that right now. So what will happen, hopefully we're going to have a situation where Primrose or Hanets ends up having the patience kicking in, which will be very, very good for us, because now what I can do is just go ahead and then give myself just a little bit more things to work with. So what can I start off with? Might as well just use one more hit of this then. Okay, so now we can just do this. I'm trying to think of the ordering of the party right now. So if I break right now, Primrose can use the Lion Dance, which will cancel out, and then she could follow up with another one in the next turn. So I'm gonna do just that. So here we go. Primrose coming in with the Dancer skill. You don't need to do an upgraded one. One is more than enough to cancel it out. And then Tharion's going to come in with his skill, the Armor Corrosive. And then Ophelia is going to follow things up with increased critical rate. So I think things turn out pretty well in our favor for this one. Here comes Divination, boost it once to give ourselves just a little bit more time, just in case. We don't want anything bad to happen. And then finally using the Lion Dance to reverse what was done to us with the Oppression skill. Okay, so yeah, everything's pretty much all set right now. Hanet's the only one that has damage, so let's just use another Armor Corrosive. And because he is weak to wind and light, how about we go ahead and use Shooting Stars, because it does both wind and light damage. Alrighty, so let's see how much damage we can do this time. We haven't really been in red zone, which I guess I should be thankful for, because at least we're not close to death. But yeah, we're getting some pretty nice stuff here. Alright, so yeah, he's more than halfway down at this point. All we need to do is just survive this next round and then build Hanet up to another full boost. So let's see what we can do about that. Everyone is buffed up, she's completely buffed up, and he is still debuffed, so we can use a large pomegranate to make sure that we have this. Excellent. Okay, so this guy is weak to light, so we're going to make use of this. And Ophelia is afflicted with terror, but she can hit twice with things that he's weak to, so we're going to do exactly that. Okay, so this is going to be a whole 6 hits again, and I don't mind the fact that he's blocking because we've already done a substantial number on him as it is, so this will be quite a nice number. And that is a kill. Excellent. So like I said, as long as you're aware of what your characters can and can't do, you could easily make such reckless decisions such as that, because you know he's going to be dead by the time he's able to do another attack. So yeah, that pretty much does it for the first 4, and we're already halfway there. The next one is going to be probably, in my opinion, the most annoying out of all of them. I'll probably talk about that soon. This one is from Primrose. P is for Primrose and her former lover. Not really a former lover, but you know how it is. I mean, this is spoiler territory, I'm sorry, but you know, if you guys are here this far, then you're already enduring this. Okay, so what I can do right now is I could use a leg hold trap, and I will. And this particular enemy is very annoying. Simeon, for whatever reason, has more HP than most of the enemies here. And he has a weakness to Spear, Dagger, Wind, and Dark, but the problem is he constantly shifts his abilities to do something else and has the ability to inflict silence, which is something I definitely do not want to deal with. However, be it as it may, their herbs are really good at curing. Alrighty, so, okay, looking at the turns that we have available, what we can do is use Primrose to sort of boost herself up, get as many hits as we can. And then, Ophelia, you are going to be in charge of boosting the BP, because you were right in front of Hannes for this next turn. So here we go. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little tricky, because I'd like to get the debuff of the, yeah, okay, we're going to try to get the debuff. Yeah, Armor Corrosive is our best option right now. So again, Armor Corrosive, give him the debuff, and hopefully Primrose will land this next hit, because I can't rely on magic right now, because all of his magic weaknesses are blocked off. And then, Ophelia, you, my friends, are going to be using the Divination as per usual. So here we go, Hannes can now do a full burst if he wants to, or a full boost. Warmaster skills, Windhill's Battlecry, see how much damage we can do. So yeah, just nearing to the 20,000 mark, not as much as I would have liked, because we couldn't get ourselves into the Lion Dance just yet. And patience is going to kick in though, so I'm glad. So okay, so this is the fun part, okay? This is why I like having patience and why the RNG is so much in our favor right now, is because we can just do this. I'm going to give her the Lion Dance, and then I'm going to use the large pomegranate, because again, points of no return, no shame in losing our items here. Using our pomegranate to fully boost, and now it is time for round 2, baby. Round 2 of Judgment Day Protocol. Oh, I love it. So yeah, you can see just how much of a difference that Lion Dance does for you. We're like nearing to 3,000 almost. Oh, I love it. Yes. So anyways, usually Simeon would be a very annoying fight, but thankfully, with the power of OP builds, it's not a problem. Not a problem at all. So again, as usual, spam your jams if you need to, and then make your way to the letter C for, letter A for Alphen and Miguel. Okay, so what are we going to do here? This is a really interesting fight because I have a tendency to mess this up, so let's not jinx it right now. This guy has a weakness to Sword and Wind, and I want to make sure that we can kind of deal with both of them. So again, as usual, start things off with a BP boost. Right, now that he's weak to Sword and Winds, I'm gonna have to try with, yeah, just trying to do 2 hits as best as I can. Because yeah, these things have a large tendency to miss, which is annoying, but that's just the nature of the game. Leg hold trap, I'm gonna try spamming the Lion Dog ability so that I can get myself into a break, or a scenario where I can achieve a break. So again, Guardian Lion Dog. And that's gonna, usually, like, you can break at around 3. I would try doing it at 3. It's a little bit risky if you try to do it at any other time. So here we go. It is a tiny bit risky if you try to do it at 4, and honestly I wouldn't recommend that. So here we go, Therian coming in with a debuff, with the Armored Corrosive, and Primrose is going to do the dance. Yeah, Primrose is going to do the dance. If we're lucky, Patience is going to kick in, which I would be totally fine for. But if not, then that's fine too. If Hannah gets the Patience, cool. If not, I can deal with that. You kind of have to account for these things. Let's hope so though. Rolling some dice. And okay, that's absolutely fair. Absolutely fair enough. So what's gonna happen now is there's not really much else I can do except just attack one more time and then let Hannes do the rest. So here we go, Warmaster skills, Windhill's Battlecry. This guy actually has a little bit less HP than Simeon, which is weird because he looks so much tougher than Simeon, but he actually has less HP. And is that finish? Not quite. So what's gonna happen now is I'm going to try to use a star skill, Steora's Prophecy. I don't have a damage increase on this one, but we're doing some pretty good time anyway. Here we go. Thief skill, seal SP, please. Yeah, so not quite enough to seal the deal just yet, but I'm totally okay with that because now I can use another energizing pomegranate on Hannes. That's going to be 2, meaning that we can do another Battlecry right after this, provided we survive it. I'm more than certain that we're going to survive this one, though. He has taken so much damage as it is. Yeah, I know you can't let me live. That's just fine by me. You know what? We're going to reapply the buff just to spite him. Or the debuff just to spite him. This guy has 170,000 HP, which is less than Simeon, who has 176,000, which is just so strange to me. But, oh, okay. Alright, nice. Just took one more. I didn't even have to use the battle cry for that one. Right, so just like that, we are more than halfway there. And, yeah, as you can see, we have been spelling out Octopath, because each character that we have here is a representative of each of the stories. Again, you guys are probably already aware of this if you're already knee-deep in spoiler territory, but thank you very much for joining me then, I appreciate this. So finally, or not finally, second to last, the penultimate challenge is gonna be T for Therion and his partner in crime? Something like that. This guy, Darius, has a nice amount of HP. He has 188,968. He's weak to spear, dagger, axe, and wind. So what we're going to try doing is let's try using spear so we can blind him. Alright, that's fair enough. And then dagger, very easy for us to do if you have a Therion on your team. Now, the cool thing about Hanet's being quite slow is that since she's able to be at the ending of every turn, you're able to just go ahead and then like, put on any buff that you want. It's just super useful. Okay, so here we go, Starseer, give ourselves the BP boost because our items are no longer available. Thank you very much for that. And, yeah, we're gonna have, yes, Hunter Skills, Leg Hold Trap, just in case. Remember, just in case. It's better that we do something and waste a little bit of time only to not need it, than to suddenly have something and then not have it. I just can't stand that. Okay, so unfortunately we retrieved our items. It would have been nice if we didn't have if we had access to our items, because I could have gone for some more of that, some more attacks with the battle cry, but since that didn't happen, I'm totally okay with this. Starseer skills, we're going to go for Divination, as with before, and Primrose is going to buff up. Yeah, Primrose is going to buff up with Lion Dance. Therion might not necessarily be long for this world, so we're going to go ahead and max out his boosts so that we can use the Armor Corrosive. So this is the thing I like about this build though, is that even when the enemy has their guard up, we could theoretically just pound away with another max boost with Pomegranates and then do some more of this damage. So what do we got? Yeah, nearly 30,000. This could be pretty substantial. Not quite a full kill, but we're getting there. We are so close to getting there. So again, like I said, we're going to try testing that thing that I just did. Hanet's is now in the red zone too, so this is exciting. This is going to be really, really good. So again, give her the Energizing Pomegranate, point of no return, no regrets. We're going to go all in, baby. And how about we use Divination one more time to just refresh the buff. So here we go, red zone. Of course, because the break is, like the armor is not broken anymore, we're going to be seeing a little bit less, but still, considering we're doing this much to an enemy that still has their guard up, almost 120,000 damage, oh, it's beautiful. Like, Hanet's as a Warmaster is the beautiful thing. I love watching it work. Watching it at work. Awesome, just totally awesome. 10 out of 10 game. And finally, last but not least, we've saved the best for last, actually. The best for last is the final boss of my favorite, story, of my favorite character. But before we do that, again, like usual, spam your jams, and it's time to begin the final challenger, and that's going to be the dragon. So this is H for Hanet and her horrible luck at encountering this horrendous beast. Yeah, sorry, I'll work on that another time, I promise. Alright, so the thing about this particular boss is that he has less HP than Simeon, the man that sits around on a theater chair all day. I don't know why, but the dragon has 174,794 HP, and he's weak to sword, axe, bow, ice, and light. And the best thing about being weak to bow is that this means that Hanet can really shine. The problem is that we can't use bow right now because it's sealed off, so we have to use axe. Use the axe, and then Primrose is going to be the one that kind of changes things up for us. So again, steal SP if we can, kind of just saving up this next turn. And we will use, again, BP boosts. I really like BP boosts. It's super, super useful. Actually, it'd be very interesting to try Tressa as a Starseer one of these days, if I can. And again, use the Hunter skill, Leg Hold Trap, to make sure that he's at the back of the line. So, like I said, he is weak to light, and Therion could easily access that. So that's exactly what we're going to do, actually. We're going to go for the Holy Light, making sure that that hits, and we're going to use an axe for this one. Okay, so at this moment, Primrose is going to do the lion dance, and Ophelia is going to finish the break for us. So what's going to happen here is we won't quite have access to the, what's it called, the debuff from Therian just yet. So you know what, we're just going to go ahead and do the regular Holy Light, guaranteed hit, and give ourselves that free turn. Let's see if Hunt comes in with the patience. No, not quite. Okay, that's totally fine by me, though. What I'm going to do is just go for the Warmaster skills, and then use Windhill's Battlecry, and we'll see how much we do, even with all these things that we don't have. So this is going to be a pretty good amount. You know, hitting 6 times all this damage. And let's see. So now all that's left for us to do is just use another... Well, let's use another pomegranate, I think, because we're near the end of the video. We might as well just do this. And Therian, again, not necessarily long for this world. We're going to give him the armor corrosive, because why not? We're here, might as well use it. So again, using Primrose, we're going to apply the leg hold trap before this turn begins, so that the next turn we'll have more time to prepare. And let's see what he does. He's wounded and has grown wary, so now he loses that. This is a really fun skill, Dragonfire. For those of you guys that have never fought this before, the cool thing about this particular attack is that if you have Reflect on all your team, you're going to hit him back so many times. Okay, so here comes Hanetz with that, and we're going to apply Starseer, Divination, actually. So here we go. So, now we are down to these attacks. Unfortunately, we have no light skills to our name, so we're just going to go ahead and do another Lion Dance. And then we'll have Therian do one light spell just to whittle him down a little bit more. He's basically done at this point. The dragon, all we have to do is just make this turn work out for us in our favor. And here comes Primrose with another attack. There's not really much else I can do, so let's just go ahead and do an attack. It would be nice if Hanet popped in at the end. That would be very useful for us, but since it didn't, I can live with that. Holy Light. And I think that's going to be about it. Like, this guy is in the yellow zone, and based on how things have been going for us, like, I'm pretty sure he's basically done. This is going to finish off. I really hope so. You have to believe. You have to believe in the power of Hanet. So here we go. Full boost. Windhill's Battlecry. Let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, that's some nice damage right there. Unfortunately, we've never really got to be in the red zone that much, except for the time where the enemy's guard was up, but still, the fact that you can even approach these levels, it's too bad because I know he does do 50,000 damage per hit, or she does hit 50,000 damage per hit, and honestly, it's such a fun build to use, and something that really makes these boss battles that much more exciting. I remember saying that when I first beat Hanet's story, I thought to myself, it'll be really funny if in a few weeks' time we're going to be saying that those fights were really easy, and like you can only beat them in 3 turns. Turns out, it only took 1 week for us to figure this out, but I'm glad we did. Hanet the Warmaster is amazing, or as I like to call her, Hanet Judgment Day mode. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but I love saying it all the time anyway. Anyways, guys, this is a really fun build. Again, all the weapon locations I've already said at the beginning of the video. It's a very fun build overall, and definitely something that kind of encapsulates what endgame should be all about. So guys, thanks very, very much for joining me as I showcase my favorite build in the game. And as usual, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.